of the chat on India's defense modernization drive. Listen in.
The Make in India program is progressing well. As you are aware, we've started increasingly ensuring that the bulk of our capital budget, the modernization budget, is spent within the country. We put the first priority on indigenous design, developed and manufactured products. We've also got an internal target that not less than 75% of our capex budget will be spent on domestic procurements. We've exceeded that significantly. We did 89% domestic procurement last year, and we've ensured that fresh imports are done only as an exception and with the specific permission of the Defense Acquisition Council under the Raksha Mantri. That combination of factors has ensured that we increasingly are doing the bulk of our procurement from Make in India weapons only.
Mm-hmm. Sir, if you look at the Defense Acquisition Council timeline, by the time it gets approved by the DAC and by the time it gets thereafter it goes for the cabinet approval and the orders are given out. What is the government doing to shorten that timeline from the point of approval from DAC to the time it comes to the armed forces?
That was priority number one from me from the day I joined this department about a year back. We've already tried to ensure that within the existing procedures of the Defense Acquisition Procedure 2020, we try to shorten our procurement timelines to not more than 2 years after the in-principle approval is granted by the Defense Acquisition Council. That is why last year we signed, if you are aware, contracts worth almost 2,09,000 crores. In the current year, we've already signed contracts worth 1,60,000 odd crores. So within the existing procedure itself, we've tried to do things faster, which is evident from the contract signings that we've been able to do. For the future, however, we are working on revising the defense acquisition procedure itself to ensure that most of our procurement procedures are streamlined in such a way, particularly in areas like field evaluation trials and cost negotiation, so that timelines can be compressed through the use of technology, and we do things much faster.
Mm-hmm. Sir, in the past few years, we have seen the government going towards ensuring that defense PSUs become competitive. We have also seen how corporatization of the ordnance factory has happened, and that has also allowed for more competitiveness between the defense PSUs as well as with the private sector. How do you assess the performance of some of the defense PSUs and the role that you envisage for many of them?
I think the defense PSUs, I suppose you're talking about the new ones who were corporatized from the original ordnance factory boards. And of course, there are the other defense PSUs which were always corporatized, the shipyards, etc., HAL, BEL, etc. For all of them, as you mentioned, we've tried to increasingly resort to competitive bidding as a way of ensuring that there is a level playing field across all of them and with the private sector as well. In some of the areas that I've seen, it has resulted in, the competition has resulted in cost savings, which is good from the point of view of the public exchequer and from the point of view of spending public money prudently. I would also say that the defense PSUs in general have done better in the recent past. Their order books are relatively better now. Some have even 4 to 5, 6 years worth of order books like HAL. Even BEL has significant order books. Even the other ones are doing well. And even in terms of exports, their performance has picked up with a 40% growth last year. So I would say they've performed well, and they beginning to sort of not only stand on their feet, but compete with the private sector and for exports outside the country as well.
You're right, sir. If you look at some of the order books of many of the defense PSU, especially the ones which are listed, they're sitting on multi-year order book, 3 to 5 years of order books, which is there. What are you doing to nudge them to ensure that this order book is executed on a faster scale? The defense companies which are listed have created wealth not only for the shareholders but also in terms of value it has increased for the government. And one of the the challenges which they face is to ensure that the order book that they're sitting on are able to be executed, and the revenue can be booked.
Performance in terms of fulfillment of the contracts placed on them. That is a challenge for many of them, not only because of certain critical technologies that they sometimes depend on supply chains outside. Everybody knows about HAL and its dependence on the GE engines. There are other areas also where some critical components coming from outside sometimes causes delays. That's part of the reason why we increasingly want to ensure that the bulk of our supply chain is either within the country or in other more trusted type of geographies. In terms of ensuring that they fulfill their contracts, meet their project milestones, what we are trying to really do is ensure that from our side, the project management or the contract management process gets streamlined. We have designated specific officers of the Joint Secretary level to start reviewing each PSU in terms of its pending contracts to ensure that milestones are met. And somewhere down the line, increasingly, we will have to fix responsibility. In my view, the responsibility should be on the basis of even things like pay scales and promotion should be linked to your ability to deliver on time. I think linking it only to the profits made by the PSU is probably no longer relevant. It is equally important for them to ensure accountability norms when it comes to meeting delivery timelines as well.
Sir, we've seen the private sector also scale up significantly in the last 10 years. And they are now able to manufacture or assemble large systems as well. How are you ensuring parity with respect to private sector when it comes to bidding for this made in India contracts?
Well, I mean, the bidding obviously is on the basis of competitive price bids, and there are increasingly a number of cases where the private sector has been able to get contracts, including contracts which they've got on the basis of technologies that have been hived off to them from the Defense Research and Development Organization, DRDO, under the DCPP mode. And this is why I always say that India has to develop a hybrid public-private sector production pipeline. And in the last 2-3 years, I think we can start seeing that take shape, including in the way contracts are being given to a combination of public and private companies.
Mm-hmm. Sir, Operation Sindoor also, brought to fore that, we need to have technology, we need to have drones, and we need to have modern air defense systems. How are you looking at this entire space from Ministry of Defense? Are you collaborating with startups, private sector and public sector to ensure that we are using newer technologies, AI and other associated technologies to ensure that we have a modern system in place?
Yes, so in fact the Ministry of Defense has been among the first Government of India departments to engage with the startup community through the iDEX scheme, where we fund prototypes based on problem statements that we give to the startup ecosystem, and quite a few contracts of that type have been given so far. In the future, when we revise the defense acquisition procedure, we'll see whether we can go beyond prototypes and give assured orders as well for a limited period of time to selected startups. In general, when you talk about air defense and operations indoor, there will be areas where we will need to rely on technology transfers from outside, but still make in India. There will be areas where DRDO has developed technologies, and we will be able to give it to the public and private sector in this country and produce platforms and weapons to meet our requirements. And there may be a limited number of products and platforms where we may have to go for, buy global or imports, depending on the technology readiness level that you see.